Coming up in the National Report, dozens of illegal migrants land on New Providence. We've got the latest.
Also tonight, BEC fault. A short shuts down power to almost half of New Providence. Find out more about what's to blame.
And then the latest on the chikungunya virus in Nassau and how you can stop its spread. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keish Latterly, live on The Bahamas Tonight.
And I'm Candino Knowles. Thanks so much for joining us.
Topping the news tonight, a group of Haitian migrants land on the shores of Nassau, coinciding with this week's arrival of Haitian President Michel Martelly.
Now, the group, we're told, was then taken into custody and as they approached the southern shores of the capital. Janelle Ferguson was at the scene as the group was brought in.
Some 50 Haitian illegal migrants were apprehended shortly after 7 o'clock Monday morning in the South Beach and Marshall Road areas of New Providence. When ZNS News arrived on scene, those seized had already been taken into custody for processing, but immigration officials continued to comb through bushes in search of those who may have escaped.
We discovered that the boat would have came in between Seabreeze and South Beach area, and we headed to the Marshall Road area, where we picked up 50 so far, 35 male and 15 female, all Haitian nationals. Once you see one coming, we coming in twos and threes. So, we have to be on the lookout for another 2 or 3 to see.
Immigration officer in charge of enforcement Kirkland Neely confirmed the vessel transporting the illegals was also apprehended out at sea once the migrants came off.
Because they were dropped off on land and the boat went back out to sea. So we need to determine from them how many people really came in, which area in Haiti they came from, and who were the captain, and if any speaking English person were in charge of the boat, would drop them off.
Do you have any reason to believe that Bahamians were involved?
Well, I don't like to speculate. One of the speaking English chaps say he presumed it was potato, but you could see that's false information because we already captured 50 already for the morning.
The Haitian nationals are being housed at the Carmichael Road Detention Center. Neely recognized it's not the first time in the Bahamas for many of them. He noted, though, that the new Defense Force vessels have helped in their patrols.
Recent time we were able to capture most of the people out to sea. And Defense Force were able to bring them into land instead of trying to capture them on land like this time.
The vessel that the Haitian migrants were traveling in was taken out to sea and destroyed. Coincidentally, today is the day that the Haitian president is expected to be in the country to discuss trade. Illegal migration is also expected to be a part of those discussions. Janelle Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
The Bahamas Electricity Corporation says it continues to experience challenges on its generation network following generator failures, that is, at its Blue Hills Power Station this morning. BEC officials say about 50% of its customers in New Providence were not impacted by the outage. However, the engine failures, which occurred at 7:30 Monday morning, caused outages in several communities. BEC says teams responded immediately and, despite challenges in the restoration process, were able to restore supply to some of the affected customers by 11:15 this morning. 99% of the customers impacted had their supply restored by 2 p.m. The corporation notes that it continued to experience challenges this afternoon, which resulted in some customers having their electricity supply interrupted a second time. 2 of the generator units that failed on Monday morning continue to experience problems, resulting in outages for customers in eastern New Providence and on East Street South. BEC says it expects that until the units return to service, customers in different communities may experience outages throughout the evening. In the meantime, an investigation into the cause of the outages is ongoing.
A male pedestrian was struck by a vehicle and killed last night in the Market Street area. It's the second fatal traffic accident this week. Our news team went to the scene, arriving just after 8 o'clock. According to officers at the scene, a male driver of a white Toyota RAV4 vehicle was traveling south on Market Street when a male walked into his path and he was hit. The pedestrian, we're told, died at the scene. It's unclear at this stage his age or identity, but officer in charge of the Road Traffic Division, Assistant Superintendent Craig Stubbs, appealed to pedestrians to utilize sidewalks and follow the rules of the road.
I'd like to encourage the motoring public is that at night we appeal that you wear colors that will reflect to the motoring public once you are a pedestrian during the course of the night. We ask you as a pedestrian not to walk directly onto the main road. We ask you to look both ways before crossing. Cross within the corner. Don't cross at the corner. A vehicle might be turning through the corner and the accident might occur. So we're appealing to members of the public, pedestrians in particular, to wear colors that can reflect your presence at night while walking on the streets of New Providence.
Chairman of the College of the Bahamas Council, Alfred Sears, confirmed that former College of the Bahamas President Dr. Rodney Smith has been selected by a nearly unanimous vote as the Council's pick for President of COB. This recommendation comes despite Smith resigning amidst a plagiarism scandal in 2005 that led him to resign, although Smith previously said he was not found guilty. Sears says Smith's qualifications outweigh the incident which he has suffered for, and as COB moves toward university status, it needs someone at the helm who can execute the Council's vision, inspire staff and students. He says it is hopeful that an official announcement on the new president will be made before the fall semester, while the Minister of Education and Cabinet must now give approval.
To the satisfaction of the Council, notwithstanding the incident, we concluded that he, in the total circumstances, was the best candidate. We stand behind the recommendation. We believe that his appointment would be in the best interests of the College of the Bahamas, and it would really be to the best interests of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Education, Science and Technology Minister Jerome Fitzgerald also reacting today on when he will be ready to share his recommendation for the college president with Cabinet. Minister Fitzgerald said a number of factors impacted the decision, but he is ready to discuss the issue with his Cabinet colleagues now that those areas of concern have been addressed.
The most important point for me was to ensure that moving forward, that the appointment of Dr. Smith would not adversely impact our ability to receive the accreditation we need in order to move to university status. So that at the end of the day was the matter that I really was questioning and speaking with other presidents within the U.S. To see what their view was on it. And so I have got their views on it, and so I'm at a position now where I'm ready to go to Cabinet.
A judge has sentenced 46-year-old father of four, Benjamin McPhee, to 38 years and 7 months in prison for killing his live-in girlfriend, Elex McKenzie, 3 years ago. He was initially sentenced to 40 years in prison, but the judge took into account the year and 5 months he's already spent behind bars. Meantime, 26-year-old mother of two, Shanice Roll, who was also McPhee's girlfriend at the time, was sentenced to 29 years and 4 months in prison for her role in the crime. In passing sentence, Justice Bernard Turner noted that the murder was callous, as the deceased was bound and gagged, her body placed in a garbage bag and dumped on the side of the road. The court also noted that both convicts blamed each other for the crime, which they had tried to conceal. Well, still ahead tonight, a shanty town is closed down as a possible disease runs through those closed quarters.
And later on, St. Agnes honors one of its own. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Lux Men's Warehouse.